The Secrets of Success from Charlie Munger. Lessons from an Investment Genius. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have such a clear vision of the investment world, while others get lost in a sea of uncertainties? Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's longtime partner, not only unraveled the mysteries of the market, but also revolutionized the way we think about life. And the most intriguing part? He believes that the secret to success lies not only in finances, but in how you combine different areas of knowledge. In this video, you will discover how to apply Munger's philosophy to make smarter decisions and live extraordinarily. Get ready, because the lessons you will learn here can completely transform your approach to business and life. Charlie Munger's multidisciplinary philosophy. Charlie Munger has always advocated an approach that goes far beyond conventional thinking in the investment world. Instead of limiting himself to financial analyses, he dives into fields such as psychology, economics, statistics, and even biology to make intelligent decisions. This innovative method allows him to understand the complex phenomena of the market with extraordinary clarity. Munger believes that true wisdom comes from a constant curiosity and the search for unexpected connections between different areas of knowledge. After all, as he says, there is no isolated science. Everything is interconnected. To illustrate, consider behavioral psychology. Munger often cites concepts like confirmation bias and the herd effect to explain why many investors make mistakes. He notes that by understanding these mechanisms, one can avoid mental traps that compromise strategic decisions. Want a practical example? Think of moments of panic in the market. Less experienced investors sell their stocks, following collective fear. Munger, on the other hand, observes patiently, waiting for the right opportunities to act rationally. Furthermore, Munger also highlights the power of statistics to simplify the apparent chaos of financial markets. He believes that numbers are crucial tools for understanding historical patterns and predicting possible future scenarios. However, he warns, it's not just about observing numbers, but interpreting data intelligently. A brilliant example is how he analyzes growth rates versus associated risks. Instead of being dazzled by quick returns, he focuses on solid fundamentals and sustainable growth. Another interesting point is his use of law in his analyses. Munger has a law degree and believes that this background offers a unique perspective on contracts, regulations, and legal disputes that can impact companies and investments. He has mentioned that by understanding a company's legal structure, investors can foresee potential problems before they arise. It's like having a privileged view behind the market scenes, a true competitive advantage. Munger's influence extends beyond the financial world. He advocates for a practical philosophy of life, guided by ethical values and the pursuit of a meaningful life. For him, financial success is just part of the equation. Munger constantly emphasizes the importance of cultivating healthy relationships, keeping an open mind, and contributing to society. This balance, he asserts, is what truly defines a successful life. We cannot forget that the concept of inversion, widely promoted by Munger, is another pillar of his approach. He suggests that instead of asking, "What should I do to achieve success?" a more productive approach would be to ask, "What should I avoid to not fail?" This inversion of perspective allows him to identify hidden risks and make safer decisions. Imagine applying this in everyday life. Instead of trying to be the best at everything, focus on avoiding the biggest mistakes. Ultimately, Charlie Munger's legacy shows us how multidisciplinary thinking can transform not only investments, but the way we see the world. He reminds us that true intelligence comes from a curious mind and a comprehensive perspective. And this leads us to explore an intriguing question: how can we apply these lessons in practice? The concept of mental models and decision-making. One of Charlie Munger's greatest legacies is the idea of mental models, a collection of fundamental concepts he uses to understand and interpret the world. For him, each model is like a tool in a toolbox, ready to be used in analyzing complex situations. These models come from various disciplines and include concepts like the law of diminishing returns, entropy, and regression to the mean. Munger's genius lies in his ability to combine these principles to make more informed and effective decisions. Consider, for example, the model of mental inertia. Munger points out that people often cling to old habits and beliefs, even when circumstances change. In the investment world, this can lead to disastrous decisions. He suggests that by identifying this tendency, one can break ineffective patterns and adopt a more adaptive approach. A smart investor should always be willing to reassess their assumptions, especially in times of economic uncertainty. Another crucial model is the network effect, which explains how the value of a service or product increases as more people use it. Munger highlights the importance of this concept when evaluating technology companies, such as Apple and Microsoft. He recognized, before many, that these companies create ecosystems so robust that they become almost impossible to replace. The lesson here is clear. Investing in companies with strong network effects can be highly rewarding. We cannot overlook the role of creative destruction, a concept from economist Joseph Schumpeter. Munger frequently observes that entire sectors are transformed by disruptive innovations. Think of the rise of streaming platforms that challenge traditional television. For him, investors who understand this dynamic can position themselves before changes solidify, reaping the rewards of their foresight. Munger also emphasizes the anchoring effect, a psychological bias where people cling to initial information when making decisions. He mentions that this is especially dangerous in financial markets, where investors can fixate on old prices and ignore the true value of an asset. The solution? Develop a flexible mindset based on solid analysis, free from external pressures. One of the most fascinating stories Munger tells is about the parable of the hammer, also known as the law of the instrument. To someone who only has a hammer, everything seems like a nail. In other words, using the same model to solve all problems is a recipe for failure. He believes that success comes from having a diversified arsenal of models and knowing which to apply in each situation. This means, for instance, that a good investor should balance quantitative data with qualitative insights to make well-rounded decisions. Additionally, Munger warns us about the reciprocity effect, a human inclination to return favors, which can be exploited in negotiations or marketing strategies. He observes that by understanding this principle, both companies and investors can create more advantageous relationships. For example, a company that provides added value to its customers at no extra cost often earns their loyalty, generating long-term profits. These mental models from Munger invite us to rethink how we approach life and business challenges. He not only provides us with tools, but also inspires us to use them wisely. And as we delve deeper into this exploration, an inevitable question arises. Which mental models are essential for facing the complexities of the future? The importance of patience and discipline in investing. For Charlie Munger, patience and discipline are not just virtues. They are essential skills for any successful investor. He often compares the financial market to a long-term game, where the most significant rewards come to those who know how to wait. In a world obsessed with quick results, Munger reminds us that true wealth is built with a long-term vision and well-founded decisions. A classic example of patience is his approach to undervalued companies. Munger believes that rather than rushing to reap immediate profits, the investor should wait for the intrinsic value of the asset to be recognized by the market. He and Buffett, for example, waited years for their shares in Coca-Cola to reach their true potential, a move that generated extraordinary returns. This philosophy proves that patience can be a powerful weapon in any investor's arsenal. Moreover, Munger highlights that discipline is crucial for resisting market temptations. He frequently warns against the obsession with constant movement and the desire to do something all the time. The secret, he says, lies in acting only when the right opportunities arise. It's like a chess player who waits for the perfect moment to make their decisive move rather than moving pieces randomly. This strategy not only reduces risks, but also maximizes gains. Another interesting aspect is his view on market volatility. While many see fluctuations as a sign of instability, Munger views them as an opportunity. He teaches us that moments of crisis or price drops can be ideal for acquiring valuable assets at discounted prices. However, this requires the courage to act when everyone else is paralyzed by fear. As he puts it, money is made waiting, not trading. Munger is also firm in his advice to avoid distractions. He emphasizes that investors should ignore market noise, the daily headlines, apocalyptic forecasts, and conflicting opinions that only fuel anxiety. He believes that the best way to deal with these distractions is to focus on solid data and long-term potential. For him, discipline is about resisting external pressure and trusting one's own careful analysis. He often cites the example of the Japanese stock market in the 1980s, when many investors were seduced by seemingly infinite growth. However, those who lacked the patience to study the market and the discipline to resist the hype ended up suffering significant losses when the bubble burst. This historical lesson serves as a powerful reminder that the market can be unforgiving to those who do not adopt a cautious approach. Finally, Munger suggests that patience and discipline are like muscles that must be exercised constantly. He believes anyone can develop them over time, as long as they are willing to commit to continuous learning. It's a process that requires practice, but offers significant rewards both in the financial market and in life. And this leads us to reflect. How can these qualities be applied not just to accumulate wealth, but to build a balanced and fulfilling life? The practical wisdom and life lessons of Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger is not just an investment genius. He is also a true master of practical life. His lessons go far beyond the financial market, touching on areas such as ethics, decision-making, and the pursuit of meaning. For Munger, living well means balancing ambitions with solid values, and he often shares insights that help illuminate this path. His wisdom is an invitation to reflect on daily choices and how they shape our future. One of Munger's most striking principles is the value of simplicity. He believes that life, just like investments, does not need to be overly complicated. Often, the best solutions lie in the simplest ideas, which are frequently overlooked. Munger suggests that by simplifying our priorities and focusing on the essentials, we can achieve extraordinary results. As he says, you don't have to do extraordinary things to get extraordinary results. Another powerful teaching is the importance of avoiding mistakes rather than chasing perfection. Munger advocates the idea that much of life's success comes from not making grave errors. He often uses the example of avoiding unnecessary debt, maintaining healthy relationships, and resisting destructive impulses. In his words, by inverting our goals, focusing on what to avoid, we can build a solid foundation for growth. This advice is practical and applicable to everyone, regardless of their goals. Munger also emphasizes the value of integrity. He believes that ultimately, character defines a person. In the business world, he advocates for acting fairly, even when no one is watching. His ethical approach is a powerful lesson in an environment often dominated by greed and shortcuts. For him, long-term relationships, whether with business partners or friends, should be built on mutual trust. A practical example of this is his relationship with Warren Buffett. Munger frequently speaks about how this partnership has been sustained by a foundation of respect and shared values. They challenge each other intellectually while maintaining a strong sense of humor and camaraderie. This combination of seriousness and lightness serves as a reminder that professional success does not have to come at the cost of a rich and fulfilling personal life. Another fascinating aspect is his belief in continuous education. Munger is an avid reader and believes that learning should never stop. He suggests that by constantly broadening our horizons, we become more adaptable and prepared to face challenges. His advice is simple. Read daily, explore new fields of knowledge, and never underestimate the power of small discoveries. This not only enriches the mind, but also broadens our perspectives on the world. Finally, Munger teaches us that happiness comes from self-sufficiency. He argues that by depending less on external circumstances for our satisfaction, we become more resilient and fulfilled. This advice is particularly valuable in a world filled with comparisons and social pressures. He suggests that by focusing on internal development and what truly matters, we find lasting peace. And this leads us to consider, how can we apply this practical wisdom to transform our lives meaningfully? The role of ethics and values in business and life. Charlie Munger is a tireless advocate for ethics and values, both in business and personal life. He believes that without a solid moral foundation, success is fleeting and often unsustainable. For Munger, decisions that compromise integrity for quick gains ultimately come at a high cost in the long run. This ethical approach is one of the pillars supporting his philosophy of investment and life, influencing those who seek not only to thrive financially, but also to build a lasting legacy. One of the most important lessons Munger teaches is to not associate with people of questionable character. He argues that the environment in which you operate has a profound impact on your decisions and your destiny. During his years at Berkshire Hathaway, he always prioritized partnerships with companies and individuals who share similar values. A clear example of this is his relationship with companies like Coca-Cola, which have a strong commitment to responsible business practices. For him, aligning with ethical partners ensures that decisions made will be sustainable and fair. Munger also emphasizes that a good reputation is one of the most valuable assets one can have. He frequently states that trust is built over decades, but can be destroyed in seconds. This principle is particularly relevant in the corporate world, where a scandal or unethical decision can devastate an entire company. To illustrate, consider companies that lost their value and market trust due to questionable practices. Munger teaches that protecting one's reputation should be an absolute priority. Another fundamental point is social responsibility. Munger believes that businesses have a duty to contribute to the well-being of society. He sees companies as forces that can drive positive change, provided they operate with integrity. An example of this is Berkshire Hathaway's support for philanthropic causes and initiatives that promote sustainability. For Munger, financial success should go hand in hand with a positive impact on the world. Additionally, he addresses the importance of transparency. In his analyses, Munger has always been frank about the risks and challenges involved in his investments. He believes that being honest with oneself and others is crucial for making informed decisions. This transparency also builds trust among shareholders and partners, strengthening relationships and creating a more stable business environment. Munger frequently criticizes practices he considers predatory or exploitative, such as the pursuit of profits at any cost. He argues that this type of mentality is destructive not only for businesses, but also for society as a whole. For him, success should be built fairly, benefiting everyone involved, from investors to consumers. This balance, according to Munger, ensures a company's longevity and relevance. Finally, Munger reminds us that ethics and values are essential guides in times of crisis. He believes that when faced with difficult decisions, it is our moral compass that guides us on the right path. By following these principles, we create a solid foundation to face future challenges. And this raises an intriguing question. How can we cultivate unwavering values in a world that often tests our integrity? The importance of continuous learning and reading. If there's one thing Charlie Munger always emphasizes, it's the value of continuous learning. For him, knowledge is like a reserve of capital. The more you accumulate, the richer you become, not just financially, but also in wisdom and discernment. He believes that the world belongs to those with an insatiable curiosity who are willing to invest time in becoming smarter. Munger is a living example of this, being a voracious reader and a lifelong learner. Munger often mentions that reading is one of the most powerful tools for expanding horizons. He has stated that to make better decisions, it's essential to absorb as much information as possible from various fields. Books on economics, psychology, biographies, and even literature are indispensable in his routine. He recommends works like Poor Charlie's Almanac and Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini to better understand human behavior and the phenomena that shape our lives. Additionally, Munger believes that learning should not be limited to one's area of expertise. He advocates for a multidisciplinary education, where each field of knowledge contributes to a more comprehensive understanding of the world. For instance, he combines lessons from history with principles of mathematics to forecast economic trends and make investment decisions. This approach allows him to identify patterns that others may not see, which is an extraordinary differentiator in a competitive market. Another point Munger emphasizes is that continuous learning also strengthens mental resilience. He observes that knowledge accumulated over time serves as armor against impulsive and emotionally driven decisions. In times of uncertainty, it is this solid foundation of knowledge that enables rational, well-informed decision-making. An investor who understands economic cycles, for example, will not easily be shaken by short-term fluctuations. Munger also reinforces that learning must be active. It's not enough to just consume information. It's important to reflect on and apply what has been learned. He suggests that when reading a book, one should ask, how can I use this in my life or in my investments? This kind of practical approach transforms knowledge into a truly powerful tool capable of generating concrete results. A practical example he frequently cites is studying innovative companies. By reading about the journeys of giants like Amazon or Tesla, you are not just learning about business. You are also gaining insights into leadership, strategy, and adaptation in a constantly changing world. This knowledge can be applied not only to investments but to any personal or professional project. Finally, Munger reminds us that learning is an endless journey. He believes that the more we learn, the more we realize how much there is still to discover. This cycle of curiosity and discovery is what keeps the mind sharp and the spirit young. And this leads us to reflect. How can we incorporate the habit of continuous learning into our daily routines to achieve extraordinary growth? The power of inversion, solving problems by thinking backwards. One of the most fascinating and influential strategies of Charlie Munger is the concept of inversion. Instead of directly seeking success, he suggests we start by identifying what would lead us to failure, and then avoid those traps at all costs. This approach may seem counterintuitive at first, but it is incredibly effective. By thinking backwards, we gain clarity about obstacles and make smarter decisions. For Munger, inversion works in various aspects of life. In investing, for example, instead of asking, how can I achieve high returns? He suggests asking, what could cause me to lose money? This includes avoiding companies with weak fundamentals, steering clear of fads, and being cautious with excessive debt. The logic is simple. If you eliminate the big mistakes, success tends to follow naturally. Another interesting example is applied to personal life. Munger argues that to be happy, we must first identify what would make us unhappy. This could involve maintaining toxic relationships, neglecting health, or making impulsive decisions. By avoiding these behaviors, we create a solid foundation for a balanced and fulfilling life. This type of reasoning gives us control and reduces the risk of future regrets. Inversion is also a powerful tool in solving complex problems. Imagine you are trying to improve the efficiency of a process at work. Instead of directly thinking of improvements, Munger suggests analyzing what is currently hindering or complicating the process. By eliminating these barriers, solutions often emerge naturally. It's a practical approach that applies to any challenge, from operational issues to relationship problems. Munger often illustrates this concept with a classic engineering example: the design of bridges. Engineers do not design a bridge solely by thinking about how strong it should be. They also consider how to avoid catastrophic failures, such as collapsing under certain conditions. This inversion of thinking, focusing on what could go wrong, is what ensures that the bridge is safe and reliable. Another field where Munger uses inversion is human behavior analysis. He notes that people often self-sabotage by failing to recognize their biases or by acting without considering long-term consequences. For example, if you want to be respected, instead of only focusing on what you need to do to gain respect, ask yourself, what could cause me to lose people's respect? Avoiding behaviors that undermine your credibility is often more effective than any active effort to gain it. Ultimately, inversion teaches us to adopt a more critical and proactive mindset. Munger suggests that when facing any significant decision, you should always consider what could go wrong and how to prevent those scenarios. This practice, in addition to reducing risks, increases your confidence in decision-making. And this leaves us with a thought-provoking question. How can we apply the power of inversion in our own lives to avoid the mistakes that distance us from our goals? The relationship between risk and reward in investing. For Charlie Munger, understanding the relationship between risk and reward is fundamental for any investor seeking extraordinary results. He often emphasizes that in the world of investments, there is no return without risk, but the secret lies in knowing how to differentiate acceptable risks from those that can lead to disaster. This intelligent and discerning approach is what makes him such an influential and respected figure. Munger believes the first lesson about risk is knowing what you are doing. Investing without sufficient knowledge is like gambling in a card game without knowing the rules. He suggests that investors should always do their homework before putting money into any asset. For example, understanding a company's fundamentals, its business model, and its growth prospects are essential steps to avoid unpleasant surprises. Another crucial point Munger highlights is the importance of diversifying without overdoing it. He is not a fan of extreme diversification, which, according to him, can dilute returns. Instead, he suggests concentrating investments in opportunities that you truly understand and trust. This allows the investor to better capitalize on potential rewards while keeping risks under control. It's the perfect balance between boldness and caution. Munger also warns against overconfidence, a common phenomenon among investors who underestimate risks. He frequently reminds us that the market is unpredictable and that even the best analyses can be challenged by unexpected events. For him, it's essential always to have a margin of safety, meaning a buffer that protects your investments against possible declines. This practice has been decisive in many of Berkshire Hathaway's successes. Furthermore, he is a strong advocate of long-term thinking. Munger believes one of the biggest mistakes investors make is focusing on quick gains without considering the associated risks. He often mentions that the best returns come from investments that mature over years, not from speculative bets. This focus on patience and discipline allows the investor to navigate the inevitable market turbulence. A practical example of his approach is investing in high-quality companies with enduring competitive advantages. He observes that while these companies may not offer the highest immediate returns, they present significantly lower risk over the long term. Companies like Apple and Coca-Cola are often cited by Munger as examples of businesses that combine stability with growth potential, an ideal combination for those looking to maximize rewards while minimizing risks. Finally, Munger reminds us that risk is not something to be feared, but rather understood and managed. He believes that by developing an intelligent and analytical mindset, anyone can navigate the mysteries of the market with confidence. And this leads us to reflect. How can we better prepare ourselves to balance risk and reward in our own financial decisions? The skin in the game mindset and personal responsibility. Charlie Munger is a strong proponent of the concept of skin in the game, meaning that those who make decisions should have something at stake. For him, true responsibility only exists when you are directly involved in the consequences of your actions. This principle reflects not only an investment philosophy, but also a practical approach to life and business. In the investment world, skin in the game means that managers and shareholders should have their own fortunes tied to the performance of the companies in which they invest. Munger and Warren Buffett are known for rigorously applying this principle at Berkshire Hathaway. They invest a significant portion of their own capital in the company, aligning their interests with those of other shareholders. This creates an extraordinary commitment to making decisions that maximize long-term value. This concept also applies to business leadership. Munger argues that executives who own shares in the companies they manage are more likely to make responsible decisions focused on sustainable growth. He believes that when leaders have something to lose, they act with more caution and consideration. A classic example is the stance of Amazon's founders, who retain significant ownership in the company while seeking to expand their business model. Another point Munger emphasizes is the importance of personal responsibility in all areas of life. He observes that many people avoid taking responsibility for their mistakes, preferring to blame external factors. However, he believes that true growth only occurs when we acknowledge and learn from our failures. He himself openly admits his own mistakes, using them as valuable lessons to make smarter decisions in the future. Furthermore, the principle of skin in the game can be applied to everyday life. Imagine a simple scenario. When you have something at stake, such as a personal project or an emotional investment, you tend to dedicate yourself more, take calculated risks, and seek the best outcomes. Munger suggests that this mindset can be transformative, as it encourages us to act with integrity and take responsibility for our choices. Munger also harshly criticizes those who make risky decisions with the money or resources of others without facing the consequences themselves. He sees this as one of the most significant failures in corporate and governmental systems. He argues that those in charge should share not only in the profits, but also in the possible losses. This creates an environment where ethical and strategic decisions prevail, protecting the collective well-being. Finally, he challenges us to adopt skin in the game as a life principle. Whether in business, relationships, or personal finances, Munger believes that having something at risk makes us more responsible and engaged. And this leads us to a provocative question. How can we implement this mindset in our own decisions to ensure that we are truly committed to the outcomes we seek? Charlie Munger's legacy and his impact on the investment world. Charlie Munger's impact on the investment world goes far beyond numbers or financial strategies. He is a historical figure who revolutionized the way we think about investing and life. His legacy is not only measured in billions of dollars, but also in the extraordinary knowledge he has shared over the decades. His multifaceted philosophy continues to inspire investors and leaders to adopt a more intelligent, ethical, and innovative approach in their journeys. One of Munger's greatest contributions is his interdisciplinary model of thinking. He has shown us that the financial market is not an isolated world, but a field that benefits from integrating knowledge from various areas. Psychology, mathematics, law, and even biology are part of the repertoire he uses to make informed decisions. This influential style of reasoning has shaped the mindset of countless investors worldwide, including Warren Buffett, who often attributes much of his success to his partnership with Munger. In addition to his innovative approach, Munger has left a mark with his ability to simplify the complex. He has the talent to transform seemingly complicated ideas into practical lessons that anyone can apply. A notable example is his explanation of mental models, which are now widely studied and applied by investors, entrepreneurs, and academics. This ability to communicate deep concepts clearly has made him one of the most respected and influential voices in the financial field. Another fascinating aspect of his legacy is the unwavering ethics he brought to the business world. In an environment often associated with greed and questionable practices, Munger highlighted the importance of solid values. He argues that financial success should not come at the cost of integrity. His ethical stance has shaped the culture of Berkshire Hathaway, which is widely seen as a model of transparency and corporate responsibility. Munger is also known for his ability to anticipate trends and act before they become obvious to the market. His strategic vision allowed Berkshire Hathaway to invest in companies like Apple and BYD, which have proven to be incredibly profitable. This keen instinct serves as a lesson about the importance of looking beyond the present and seeing future potential, something that continues to inspire investors seeking truly transformative opportunities. We cannot overlook his impact on philanthropy and the encouragement of critical thinking. Munger frequently donates to causes that promote education and research, reinforcing his commitment to improving society. He believes that knowledge is a powerful tool for creating a better world, and that each of us has a responsibility to contribute to this. His focus on sharing his wisdom through speeches and writings is also part of this invaluable legacy. Ultimately, Munger's legacy is an inexhaustible source of inspiration. He teaches us that with constant curiosity, discipline, and integrity, we can achieve not only financial success, but also a full and meaningful life. And thus, he leaves us with a provocative question. How can you apply Charlie Munger's teachings to create your own journey of success and impact? Are you ready to apply these transformative lessons in your life? Charlie Munger has shown us that success is built with patience, discipline, and continuous learning. But now, it's up to you to take the next step. What is holding you back from starting today? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Let's continue this journey together toward a smarter and more extraordinary future.